Before we get into today's episode, I just want to thank you for sharing your very precious time with me today. I don't take that lightly, and with all the ways you could be spending your time, I'm so thankful you choose to spend it here. If you enjoy this space, please subscribe to the podcast and share an episode with a friend. It's the most important thing to keep the conversations coming. Don't forget to rate this episode and leave a review if you love it. I appreciate you very much. Today's wisdom comes to us from Naomi Kreske, a life coach and mastermind behind keepfindingyou.com. If you ever felt stuck or slapped in the face by life, if you've experienced the weight of the world on your shoulders while also feeling like a failure and not having access to love, this episode will help you unpack that and inspire you to attract what you really want. So without further ado, let's welcome Naomi. I feel like there's so much good we need to cover today, and the container that of which is a podcast conversation is just never enough time. So I'm just going to jump right in and introduce Naomi. She is the creator of some of the most beautiful ways of finding yourself. Keepfindingyou.com is the place to connect and to see what she's doing. The ever-evolving journey of figuring out who we are, where we're going, and embracing the freedom to keep finding yourself. Naomi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very eloquent. Thank you.
Well, those are mostly your words that I'm sharing. But I love what you've put together. We're definitely going to get into what you offer your community and what you're doing to show up for the world. But I'm just so excited to have you here today because you bring a really refreshing breath of fresh air to how we are reclaiming ourselves.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about you and how this all started for you.
So I am a mother of 4, divorced, remarried, and that's, like the overarching highlights. But I grew up in a very loving household. I was the oldest of 5 kids. My parents are still married, still in love. It's kind of silly to watch them sometimes. But I had this white picket fence life, and went to college, met my husband, got married, got a job, worked outside of the big city. It was just like I was loving life and having children, and switched to becoming a stay-at-home mom so I could really, dig into being a mom and raising my children. And then, life happened. It was a very big surprise to me, when my marriage was ripped out from under me. And I call it the rug. The rug was pulled out from under me. And it sort of put me on this journey that has only, like, just now, like 15 years later, sort of come full circle for me. And I've been able to really appreciate the journey and enjoy it for what it's worth. And now my goal in life is to pay it forward and, help people, help women get through these kinds of situations in life, because I could have used me 15 years ago. So it was quite a journey for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I know that there's always just multiple layers of how we get from point A to point B. But essentially, you felt like you were stuck in survivor mode at a certain point.
Oh yeah, I definitely, because when my husband decided that he was done, I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids. a 9-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Like, it was like life just slapped me in the face, and I had to figure it out. And I thought I had to figure it out on my own. And it took me 2 whole days to even tell my parents.
Mm.
Like, I was embarrassed, like, I felt like a failure,
Yeah.
and especially because of the example that I grew up with, you know? And I'm no shade on what my parents did and how they brought us up and the example that they provided. It set the bar so high. And I mean, I would love to set that bar for my children too, because yes, that's what we should aspire for. But it was like I was embarrassed that I failed my family, I failed my parents. All my siblings are still married and in love and happy and stuff like that. So like I felt like this black sheep failure. And so I think I just sort of like went inside and I was just like, all right, on this island of one, and I'm gonna muscle through this. So I was definitely stuck in survival mode. And honestly, I didn't even realize it. I thought I was just doing what I had to do. Like I thought this was my life now. So single mom, going back to work, actually owned a business with my ex-husband and worked at the business with him for 17 years.
That had to have been very complicated.
It was very complicated. Fortunately for our situation, he let me just be. He let me run the business, you know. So I just ran the business, which is fine. But it just added one more thing to my plate, you know. I'm going to run the business. I'm going to run our family. I'm going to run still parts of his life, and it was I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. So no wonder I was stuck in survival mode and completely emotionally unavailable and didn't even realize it and wondered why I couldn't find love again.
Mhm. Yeah, that gets us to sort of the second part of the story, right? Um, but I do want to ask you about something that just popped into my mind when you were sharing everything just then about how you felt like you had failed your family or yourself. You felt like you were the just odd man out type of thing. Did you ever think about how there is a lot of expectation to live the life that people expect you to live versus the one that is really meant for you?
Yeah, there's all sorts of expectations from, your family, from society, from
Mhm.
yourself. And it takes like a really high level of awareness to know what it is that you actually want. I think a lot of people go through life not actually knowing what they want because that self-awareness, that long look in the mirror at like who you are, what you're doing, and what you want is can be brutal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to do it and don't know how to do it also.
Mhm.
So, or have the tools or the support to really figure it out. So you go through life just living up to other people's expectations.
For sure. And I love the first part of the intro on your website that says the ever evolving journey of figuring out who you are, because it is a constant moving thing, right? I mean, if we are just staying in one place, then that's pretty stagnant. I feel
Yeah,
like there's just a lot of resignment in that of what things are
yeah,
without exploring what could be. So yeah, like moving always into the direction of more of what feels good. And I think you're incredibly correct in what you said about how there's a lot of people, and I can attest to this at different points in life, I don't even know what the hell I want.
Yeah.
You just do what you think you want based on what other people are modeling for you, like your parents in this perfect
Mhm.
marriage. And when you're not in that image, then it's like this picture of what you believe your life should look like, right? Is not shaping out. It's not coming together like you think it should. And then from that, you think somehow you've failed or you're not keeping up. But really, that path was probably never meant for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like I can respect my journey now because of, how passionate I am about what I do now.
Yeah.
But in the moment,
Yeah.
I was miserable.
In the moment you're drowning.
I was drowning. I definitely was drowning, just barely able to keep myself above the water.
Hmm.
But it was definitely an aha moment for me when I finally realized emotionally unavailable and I was stuck in survival mode. It was like the light bulb went on and I was like, well, goddamn, that's why I'm not happy.
So, what was the aha moment? Share that with us.
So I I come also from a family of overachievers, and we all love to learn. So I knew something was wrong, like something wasn't right. So I am obsessed with self-help books and listening to podcasts and taking courses. So I was already doing those things. But it still wasn't connecting. I was missing my aha moment. So I was reading a book, and it's titled "I'm Done," and it's how to. I'll read the subtitles. It's how to create massive shifts in your life and attract a soulmate relationship. So for me, finding love was top on my list at that moment, and that was the thing that was going to make my life better, make me better, was finding love. So I'm reading this book to try to, get to that place, and I'm in the middle of the book, and the author is sharing a conversation that she had with her mother, and it was like she was talking to me. It was like I've found myself in this book, and her mother is talking about, like, you are going out, you're drinking, you're up late, you're doing all these things, and you are still expecting to find Prince Charming, but you're not doing Prince Charming level things. So, like, what you're putting out in this world is not going to get you what you want. And I was like, "Oh, that's me. Like, that was me. I was out and partying and drinking, and it just, how can I expect to have this life, the life that I want, but I'm not living it?" So it's like you have to start living the life that you want so you can have the life that you want. I think how I said before, you have to be better to have better. And it
Right.
was just like this light bulb that just went on, and that put me down the path of really digging deep on the law of attraction. What you put out in this world is what you're going to get back. And I thoroughly believe that in every single aspect of your life.
For sure. I love that. And it's true. And people, I think, um, don't put enough emphasis or give enough credit to the universal laws, um, and law of attraction being one of them. There's many universal laws, right?
Yeah.
But we're so far removed from that way of thinking for multiple reasons, right? But getting back to the root and the core of just the basic things that are true for all humans, like universal law of attraction. Um, and I feel like we could take it all the way back to, for me, I have memories of that as a kid, just like in sports or activities. It's like, well, if you don't, you're not going to get what you don't put into it, kind of thing. And it's the same kind of mindset. So
Yeah.
it's like we've talked about things like this from a young age, but applying it to your own life, especially when you are in an internal crisis or chaotic state of mind, rugs ripped out from underneath you, like you've described, it's
Hmm.
really hard to put the love out into the world when you don't feel like you're receiving it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a leap of faith that you have to make. And the law of attraction is a leap of faith in general. So there's definitely a level of faith because you have to do the work before you see the results. So you have to have faith that the results are going to come so that they will come.
Right.
It it
Right.
it's an interesting process, but it's so worth it because it so works.
So when you finally got out of your own way, right?
Yeah.
Um, how did things start unfolding for you, and what continuously was changing to help you get to where you are now?
So with that realization, I was able to then take a very long look in the mirror and, really look at the things that I was doing and I'm making those changes. I was the emotionally unavailable one that was attracting emotionally unavailable people into my life. And I was like, I need to be emotionally available because I pride myself on this emotional IQ and understanding and loving psychology. And I was just like, but yet still here I am emotionally unavailable. It was laughable. Like I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But so that was my first challenge was to, look within and see how I could be better, be a better person, be more emotionally available. So, changing my habits, having some internal reflection, not going out, staying home, really sort of watching my mindset and what I was putting out into the universe. So, and it's slow, it was slow. It's a slow change, but at some point it was just like the ball got rolling and it was just like good thing after good thing after good thing after good thing was just coming into my life. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure. When you
Yeah.
talk about doing things, just changing those habits and doing things differently, deciding not to go out drinking on the weekend, deciding not to participate in the gossiping at the bar, that type of stuff, like all of that toxic type of behavior. And not that you can't like occasionally enjoy going out with friends or something, but when
Yeah.
it's like a constant thing or you're doing it as a way to avoid yourself,
Right.
then
No coping.
that's right, right. No, can't
Yeah.
cope with that type of thing,
Yeah.
right? So, um, but being able to pull back on that and not just pull back on it, but also then be okay with pulling back with it, right? Like don't
Yeah.
not having that FOMO, where you think that
Right.
there's all of this happening without you type of thing, and being able to know that actually there's a lot more happening for you when you choose to step away from that type of behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, editing out the toxic environments, the toxic people, the toxic life choices made space for the positive ones to come in. So, you got to edit things out first before the good things can come in. So it was
Yeah.
good. It was hard, but it was good because I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a part of that, drama circle and, toxic behaviors. So I definitely got stuck in it and didn't
For sure.
realize it. But yeah, editing it out, I'm at such peace now. My life is so peaceful and I love it. I love the quiet. I love the peace. Like, and I think before when I was stuck in that toxic environment, like I needed the toxic. It was almost like you're addicted to it.
Yeah. No, and that makes a lot of sense too, because when you think about other toxic things that just reach for your attention, even something like scrolling,
Yeah.
right? Or socials or Netflix or things that keep you looking and
Hmm.
disengaged from your actual life. It's the
Yeah.
same as showing up to drink with a bunch of friends, right?
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I would imagine like stepping back from that and then stepping back long enough to really feel what you feel and observe how much better you feel. That too is very, very eye-opening. Like, how do you want to feel at the end of the day? How do you want to feel at the start of the day?
Right.
And acknowledging what you did differently to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get sucked back in.
Oh,
And,
sure.
I mean, because it's not like you're trying to necessarily dismiss the people, it's the behavior.
Some of the people, but definitely the
Yeah,
behavior.
for sure. I mean, and that kind of happens, it's like just naturally, right? I mean, when you
Yeah.
start when you start becoming your more authentic self, people will naturally just disconnect because they
They'll fade
feel
away.
threatened by it.
Yeah.
Because you're a higher vibration. That's a
Yeah.
lower vibration to show up with people that are still using that type of thing as a coping mechanism.
Yeah. And I've had to be okay with, letting those relationships fall away because they no longer serve me.
Hmm.
And, letting go has been a hard lesson
Yeah,
because, it's human nature to want to hold on to things, and whether it's toxic or not, it's still comfortable. And um, I had to let go and not want to fix everybody. I needed to just fix myself and, really focus on what was going to serve me.
well, Naomi, I will tell you that what you have done for yourself and all that you have realized is a very brave step into just being who you are today and who you are continuing to become. And as you said, it is a comfortable place to stay in toxicity. And a lot of people are not able to step out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I understand, and I understand that too. Like we all are given certain tools, whether it's society or our upbringing or our own passions, on how to handle life, and not everybody has um, the necessary tools to, make these kinds of changes in their life. So I firmly believe that people are more often than not just doing the best that they can.
For sure. I think that's true for most of us.
Yeah.
Like you don't just show up every day and say, well, I'm just gonna, show up and not do anything that is helpful for me. Nobody
Right.
has that like actual mindset. But
Yeah.
in terms of tools, let's talk about some of the tools that you're using and how you are helping people also use those same type of tools.
So yeah, my two favorite tools are meditation and journaling. These are wonderful tools to help with that, long look in the mirror. But, meditation to, ground yourself and quiet your mind and allow yourself to go within, because that it can be scary. But then journaling, and especially for me, like I was always intimidated by journaling because it's like, the blank page. Like, what am I doing with this page? Like,
Yeah.
what do I write to help me move forward? So it's I like guided journaling. So, or at least that's what I call it. And I created a journal page, a guided journal page. It's called the Daily Abundance Journal page, and it guides you through um, specific prompts to help you, think about your day and bring that positivity into your life. Because if you're thinking positive, then positive things are going to happen. So, daily gratitudes, um, thinking about your goals for the day, and also acknowledging your wins. Like, even if they're small, like I made my bed, I brushed my hair. It doesn't have to be this astronomical thing to appreciate it, and just acknowledging that allows your subconscious to like start rewriting some negative patterns. So I could go down a little bit of rabbit hole about the neuroscience behind rewriting, the subconscious patterns, which is also a big part of manifestation and journaling. But I don't know if you want me to geek out right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hear all the geek and all the weird. Go ahead and tell us.
So we have neural pathways, obviously in our brain. And, I like to call them well-worn grooves. And so changing your mindset is changing these subconscious neural pathways, the well-worn grooves. And it takes a lot of little steps to change a big groove. So recognizing even the little things is helping add up. They'll add up to a big thing and changing that neural pathway of negativity. So it's like you almost want to overload yourself with positivity. So that's why the journal page, it's broken out into small bits and pieces, and it feels simple, but you're doing gratitude, you're doing goals, you're doing wins, you're doing one small thing to help you have a good day tomorrow. So it's little things that add up to big things, and that's one of the things that will get the ball rolling. And like I said, like all of the things will then just start rolling into your life.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense for sure. Thank you
Yeah.
for digging deeper into that. Because I think gratitude, I will admit, I have a complicated relationship with gratitude and gratitude journaling and that type of thing because I don't ever want to, this is a little bit off topic, but I don't ever want to um I guess dismiss what are also hard things in life because I think there's a place and a purpose for those things too. So always looking on the bright side is a little bit it's something that's complicated for me, I feel like, because I want
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge both the good and the bad because I think
Sure.
they collectively are needed. Um, but acknowledging, what is going well, right?
Yeah.
However we want to word that, or how we felt that life showed up in a positive way for us, I think is really important for the mindset of affirming that yes, keep going, keep stepping into the direction of improving and elevating yourself.
Yeah. So I'll offer you a little reframe on what you just talked about. Acknowledging the good and the bad. So the good is definitely, the gratitude practice. The bad, you could reframe that and put it under the lessons learned category.
Hmm.
So, I mean, there's always a lesson learned in something bad.
Hmm.
And acknowledging the lesson learned can put a positive spin on it. So now you're adding other positive attributes to the gratitude and the other items in the
For
journal.
sure. Yeah, for sure. Another thing I like to think about every day as I'm complaining about something, and it can easily turn into like a toxic thought,
Mm-hmm.
is just always reminding myself how many first world problems I have and how very thankful I am for them because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people praying to wake up to my life, right?
Sure.
Um, so I think about that as well
Yeah.
often, when people think they're really in the thick of something, even something as like hard as you went through, having that rug ripped out from under you. Um, it's hard in that moment, but if you really stop and like think about it, there are little glimpses of light, like you have your children from that relationship, right? I'm sure there's other many other things that if you really stopped and thought about it, like you wouldn't be here today doing this amazing work.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
And
it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
that is the biggest silver lining to my divorce. Like, and um, I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I've also remarried, and I absolutely, love my marriage, and I'm very happy, and I, wouldn't have it if I wasn't married,
Mm-hmm. Right.
wasn't divorced. So, yeah, hindsight's 2020, as
For sure.
we all say. But no, I can now respect my journey, and for what it's given me, I can, now give back.
Yeah. I think I'm going to say this wrong, but it's something that comes into my mind when we're talking about things that we learn from in terms of hard experiences, but it's something along the lines of I get that we have to like learn through our mistakes, but does it have to be so fucking hard? Do we have to like really hit rock bottom and like go
Yeah,
through all of the terrible
I know.
tragedy and emotion in order to like get to that better place? Does it have to be so like so hard? Um, can't we learn a little simpler? But perhaps not.
I know. And that's still one of the things that I struggle with. Like, did it have to be so hard? Did it have to take so long for me to figure my crap out? Like, but apparently it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's hard, like when you're in those moments, to have gratitude.
Hmm.
Um, I don't, it's been a while since I've been in one of those moments. Um, I don't really want to test it out, but I'm curious what my new mindset would, how it would help me,
Hmm.
in those tough moments.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I
I feel like it would. I think things would be different because gratitude is really hard when you have a negative mindset.
for
So,
sure.
yeah, and mindset is so important and so much hard work.
It is difficult work and it's daily work. And I
It
think
is.
that that's um, where something like journaling comes in and meditation come in because being able to really just sit with yourself and be still. I read something really alarming to me recently that said some like it was a ridiculous percentage. It was like 60 or 70%, I think it said, of people would rather be like electroshocked than sit in silence within their own thoughts for even like 10 to 20 minutes. And that was really shocking to me.
Yeah.
I
That,
do enjoy meditation and I do enjoy silence and solitude. So to think that people are so afraid of their own thoughts that they would rather be electrocuted, that's so hard for me to understand. But it also just tells me they have a lot of work to do,
yeah.
right? To be able to keep finding themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that phrase that is your website. Keep
Yeah.
finding you. Um, tell us about the journaling and how what you do to help people. And I can attest to some of it because I did sign up for your journaling prompts and I get these lovely emails in my inbox, and it reminds me to keep finding myself and keep doing the work. But I want to hear from you how this is just on your heart to show up for people like this.
So I got into being a life coach just fairly recently. I have always had a love of psychology. I love like the human condition because like I want to know what's underneath. Like I
Hmm.
want to know why you're behaving the way you're behaving because a lot of times what people have on the outside is not actually an indication of what's happening on the inside. So I love the human condition, and I want to help people figure that out for themselves so they can go through life and be happier and be more productive and have a more fulfilling life and have purpose, like find their purpose and do it and really enjoy it and be happy.
Hmm.
So like that is where my journey's brought me to because I have been able to do that, find my purpose, find my life's purpose, and have been starting to share it with the world through life coaching, through my journal, through my newsletter. I love sharing what I've learned and inspiring people to help themselves. So as a coach, that's, my job to inspire you to help yourself. Because my intention is not to babysit, but, to help you help yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. There's a big difference between hand-holding versus empowering somebody to just take control of their own path and step forward.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is much more liberating, like to be able to do it yourself, or have a little help and then run with it.
for sure. And somebody in this space previously talked about how doing everything for other people really is just a way that you take their power away. It isn't helping them by any means. It is,
Correct.
and even the word enabling isn't right so much as it is just them feeling like they have no control over themselves. So
Right.
you're not doing anybody any kind of service by just trying to figure it out for them,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
you're giving people the tools to help them figure it out for themselves.
Yep.
So your journaling prompts and your newsletters, tell us a little bit about more what that looks like. We talked about the journal prompt. There's also the newsletter and meditation. Is that part of what you're also, are you advocating for it, or are you also sharing ways to participate in that with you?
Um, within my newsletter.
Within just your work with the website, Keep Finding You, and just your service and your mission.
Yeah. So, you know, I know that one-on-one coaching can be intimidating. So, that's why I created the journal page. And that's also why I created the newsletter, because it's, my weekly dose of, inspirations and a
Mhm.
lot of personal stories of my own. And I do want to incorporate, meditation techniques and manifestation tools. Um, and yeah, that's going to be all a part of, what I offer, the people that come into my community.
Mhm. How does one-on-one coaching look with you? Is that something that is like a one-time conversation sometimes, or are you doing that for a duration of time to continuously support?
No, I feel definitely coaching needs to be more than a one-time conversation. So I offer a couple different packages. One is called the Breakthrough, uh, the break, the Breakthrough Intensive. So it's 3 weeks of, two intense sessions, and then, one sort of normal length a session. So this is where you need like a kick in the butt in like one area in your life.
Mhm.
Let's dig deep, let's dig hard, and let's get you out of the rut in this one area in your life. And then that's 3 weeks. It's basically 4 weeks of coaching condensed into 3 weeks. So quick in, quick out, quick wins. And um, the other package is called the Transformation Journey, which is a 3-month long package that really allows us to dig into your whole life and really, really dig in and make some big changes in your life.
Sounds like incredibly important work.
Yeah.
It must be really rewarding for you to be part of the journeys and see the tangible change happening in these women's lives.
Yeah, I think I love the aha moments just as much as they do. Sometimes, when we're done with the session and, a client's had like an amazing aha moment, like I'm riding high for the rest of the day. Like I love being a part of these aha moments because, from my own space, I know like how influential they can be in your life. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, I love that too because there's so much competition, especially between women in this world. And when we can celebrate each other,
Yeah.
that idea of like helping her fix her crown, even when she doesn't realize it's on crooked kind of
Right.
thing. And
Yeah.
then just smiling as she walks away, a little bit taller, a little bit prouder, um, is just the best kind of affirmation that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah,
Looking forward to doing this for many years.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Um, Naomi, what else do you want to leave our listeners thinking about today? What will we want to have people thinking on?
So the last element that has really become a passion of mine is creating community.
Mm.
Because when I was, going through my hardest time, I felt like I needed to do it alone. And I think that that is definitely a societal thing. We are scared to lose control. We don't want to be vulnerable, but at our lowest, that's when we need the most support. And having that community already built up around you can help you through those moments in life so much better. And um, it's something that I have been actively manifesting in my life. I'm actually a little bit of an introvert, and it's been, a little bit of a challenge to put myself out there, but I wanted the community. So I was like, well, I got to follow my own lesson, or I have to practice what I'm preaching. So to get the community, I had to put myself out there. So I had to like already act like I was in a community, and it's coming back to me. It's so rewarding, like the amount of like-minded individuals that are coming into my life and are there to support and have amazing conversations like this. And it's so cool, this idea that we need each other. And cultivating that is one of the best things that you can do for yourself.
That is really sound advice, and I couldn't agree more. A question about that, um, in which you shared, is the community that you're talking about part of your mission, your keep finding you, or are you talking about like a personal community within like your inner group of people who are supportive of you, like your family and your friends?
I mean, both. I mean, there's so many different levels of like community. Like, I have a very strong family community. Like, I've
Hmm.
always preached to my children that we are team family. I'm a
Hmm.
sports mom, so that's, the vibe in our house very often. But also, the people that you surround yourself with, the friends that you have, the professionals that you deal with, your social circles, like the community, and then even the physical community, like out in public and stuff. So, like it's a lot of different aspects, but they're all there to support you. And looking at it in the mindset your support is very cool, and how we should be doing it.
Yeah, it's all it's all so relevant. And I think the biggest thing that I take away from what you just shared about community is thinking back to something we talked about in the beginning. Just be mindful of the type of energy you allow into your circle or your community, or your tribe, whatever we want to call it, right? The people who
Yeah,
support us and show up for us. It's just important to be mindful of who has access to you, I feel like.
yeah. Yeah, it's boundaries. I mean, boundaries, it's a hot word these days,
Hmm.
but they're very important, and also can be very tricky to establish and support,
For
or
sure.
enforce. Establish, enforce. Yeah.
Yeah. As a fellow introvert, um, I think, yeah, it's very important to just utilize those boundaries as needed so that you're not putting yourself in a position to be drained constantly,
Yeah.
be amongst people that refill you and don't just deplete and take, I think is something that I've learned in life along the way as somebody who is empath by nature that tries to just show up no matter what and for everybody and to fix
Yeah.
everything for everybody, right? That doesn't work. So being in a community of people who all show up for each other collectively in a way that supports and uplifts, that's powerful stuff for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like knowing what your boundaries need to be. So like we're back to that self-awareness thing. Because, how long did it take you to figure out, what your boundaries needed to be? Probably a little
So-
while.
Well, I'm still figuring it out. I
Right.
mean, in our ever evolving journey of life, I mean,
Exactly.
what worked for me this time last year might not work for me today.
Sure. And that's why, in on my website, it's okay to keep finding yourself.
Yes, I love that so
Yeah,
much.
and that was very important for me to say because, you know, this journey does not have a destination.
Mhm.
You will always be, or you should always want to keep improving and changing and growing. So
Mhm.
yeah, this journey does not have a destination and you will keep finding yourself and that is okay.
Absolutely. And it's okay to change your mind.
Yes.
That's the
Yep.
other thing I think we really get hung up with as a society. It's like, well, I've spent all this time believing this or doing it that way or, showing up how I always have, but it's okay to do it differently. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? I used to believe this, but now I don't. And I'm going to do it this way from now on.
Right. Yeah, because you learn, you grow, like
Yeah.
you change, like that it's inevitable.
I think the other part of that though is the fear of judgment from other people. So that's a whole nother layer of why we stay stuck in ourselves is because
Yeah.
we're fearful
Yeah.
of what other people might think of us.
Well, change in general is fearful because it's unknown.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people don't change because the fear of the unknown is too much because they want to
Hmm.
control the situation. And that's, you know, fear is not controlling, you know?
Right. And exactly what you just said there, is something that I've heard over and over again. If you insist on trying to be in control of things, it is basically you just saying that you lack trust of other people. And when you really think about that, when you really dig deep into that, like my need to control somebody else's behavior, whether it's, the way a coworker's doing something, whether it's the way my kid is doing something or anybody, that is me telling them I don't trust you.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Like for you to walk around thinking that you can control everything because you lack trust in everybody around you, that is very like limiting of not just yourself, but everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really that would be a really sad way to live.
For
And
sure.
it also takes you back to, not having faith, not having faith in, yourself, in the people around you, in what the universe will provide. Like you got to have that faith.
Hmm. The only thing that we have control over is that nothing's in our control, right?
Yeah,
The only
pretty
things,
much.
the only thing that's, yeah, I didn't say that eloquently, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's like nothing's in your control. So just relax,
yeah.
relax. Nothing's in your control. And it's true.
Yeah, I will catch myself every once in a while, you cannot manifest from a place of control. The
Hmm.
the goal of manifestation is, to have a strong intention, but then to let it
Hmm.
go and have
Right.
faith. And I'll catch myself every once in a while, like trying to control the outcome because I'm afraid. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that I won't, get the thing that I want. And so I'll try to control it because that's me controlling the fear. And then I'm just like, wait a minute, I need to relax and allow, it's like, let's go back to that place of faith. So that's where mindset becomes, a constant, thing that, needs maintenance.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that there's people like you showing up to help the rest of us just get in this state of mind of
Yeah.
really reaching for what we want and doing it even if we're afraid.
Yes, every day. Always afraid.
Just because she did it doesn't mean she wasn't afraid. She just did
Right.
it anyways. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, being afraid is, again, another reason why having a strong community around you is important. So it's like everything is all tied together. It's so much fun, community, mindset, faith, it's this interwoven thing that really works when they work together.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Naomi, tell us where our listeners can find you and how can they connect?
So the best place well, there's two good places to find me. Definitely on my website, keepfindingyou.com. And then I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as per my 16-year-old daughter said I had to. But that's at Keep Finding You, but with the letter U instead of spelling out YOU. But I enjoy putting fun content out there, so I feel like I'm a fun follow. So
Yeah,
follow me
you are.
there, interact, and just have fun and enjoy.
Yes. And always to stay connected, we'll be in the show notes for everybody that's listening. It's just a click away. You don't have to search it out yourself. So that will be there. Stay connected with Naomi and tap into the amazing ways that she's showing up for you. I've loved this, Naomi. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, this has been a really great conversation. Thank you for having me.
It isn't uncommon for me to have these conversations and feel like the guest is talking directly to my heart. Naomi's words today are a great reminder that the journey doesn't end. We keep finding ourselves every single day, and we need to resist the fear that keeps us stagnant. Don't forget to acknowledge and celebrate all the little wins, all the small ways you call in what you want and need. Find Naomi at keepfindingyou.com and on socials. Links to click are in the show notes. Thanks, friends. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you again soon.